Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome, everybody, to the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. And look who's joining me. I mean, I'd call you my...
Jeffrey?
I'd call you my partner in crime, Neal, but I think we're getting there slowly.
Our
relationship
Jeffrey.
has...
I am just happy to be up here with the franchise. The face of the Dispo advertising campaign.
God, here we go.
A guy who's going to win an acting award for the commercial. The face of the Detroit Lions pregame show. Monday Night Football. It doesn't get any bigger than this, and it doesn't get any bigger than that man right there.
My guy, Neal Ruhl. We got the entire crew here with us as well. BMG. Speaking of Neal Ruhl, Big D Energy. Check them out. We got our guy, BMG. We took him right off. Big D Energy. He's hanging with us today. Michael Gentry. Booner is, of course, joining me every single week.
Let's go.
Woodward Nights. You know
Nights.
who he is. We got Booner's Bets later in the show. And then, of course, from Heavyweights. We got a piece of like every show in here. Heavyweights, Chris Platte, our TD for the day. Appreciate you, Chris. Shane D to start us off. He says Jeff is in the correct seat. You know what?
Wow.
I came to my senses today. I said to Neal, I'll give you a crumb. You know, last week I took your seat, or last time
That's
we did
all
the
I
show.
get from this network is crumbs. All they get from me is views, and all I get is crumbs.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not a fair trade.
I will say, though, Woodward Nights gets BDE's crumbs. That's official.
Don't do this.
We went over that Friday. We get the crumbs.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey.
Well, get used to it. That's the way it works, bro.
We're at the very bottom.
But we got a packed show for you guys today. Of course, Lions versus Raiders, Monday Night Football. We're locked in. Of course, we'll have the watch party here after the Lions pregame show. But a lot to get to. I want to start off by just going through the injury report. Welcome, everybody who's just currently joining us. If you haven't already liked the stream, it does help the algorithm for the stream, and, of course, it helps the network. So that's number one. Some injury updates for everybody. We'll get the official injury report, the updated one, later in the show. But for right now, guys that are confirmed out, Jonah Jackson did not practice all week. He is ruled out, which no surprise there. We kind of knew that. David Montgomery, no surprise there as well. He's officially out. Frank Ragnow is doubtful. We'll get his confirmation later in the show as well. Of course, Pascal and a couple other guys are questionable. Jerry Jacobs, he'll be playing, expected to. One guy, though, that was on the injury report today that is now off, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He'll be playing today.
Yeah, he is expected to play. We'll see what happens out there. Booner and I were talking about this before we went on air. What kind of Amon-Ra St. Brown are you looking to get? See, here's where I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is different than a lot of other players you're going to see, because here's what we know. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is out there, Amon-Ra St. Brown gets the rock.
Right.
Period, end of story. When he's out there, he is out there. It's not for a decoy or anything like that. He's going to get the pill tonight because he's out there. That's how he rolls.
Yeah, and the other part of that is by default, I think he makes others better, Booner. I mean,
Yeah.
if Amon-Ra St. Brown out there, he's by default going to attract attention. I mean, you talk about a Raiders defense that, I mean, just this year, they're better, and this is weird, better run defense than they are pass defense. So you tell me a corner who's guarding Amon-Ra St. Brown. Marcus Peters?
Yeah, I think we could all agree, too. Just any NFL team, you take your wide receiver one away, it takes away a lot, and it puts pressure on guys like Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, Jamison Williams. Once you have that wide receiver one, that's when you're able to, like, your offense doesn't change. Like, you're at full throttle there. And with Amon-Ra St. Brown, whether, like Neal said, if he's playing, he's full throttle, and the Raiders have to deal with that. And Ben Johnson can do his full game plan. There's no, hey, we have to move this around, we have to do – no, they know Amon-Ra St. Brown's playing. And I'm sure, too, they just found out yesterday he was sick. And that came out last night. Right. I'm sure that probably changed the whole game plan from the whole week that they just worked on.
Congratulations, you just got Amon-Ra St. Brown.
So I'm kind of glad that he's playing.
Yeah, update, actually, correction. They have a better passing defense than they do run defense. So,
okay.
They're 24th right now in the league run defense. The Raiders are averaging about 129 per game. But, you know, they haven't played the best opponent. I saw a stat today, Neal. Shout out to someone that me and Mike follow. And he's like, no tight end has hit the over against the Raiders. And we looked up who they played, and the best tight end was Cole Kmet. So, you know, they're little misconstrued
but you know what, though?
stats.
You know what I'm finding, man? And I look, as I say all the time on Big D Energy, we're new to this now, right? Like, we're new money in the room. Like, we walked in the country club and left our hat on, didn't take our hat off. We don't have the blazer on or anything like that. So we're new to this. That's this league. Like, that's this league. That's this year.
Right.
I mean, look, I'm to the point now, and especially tonight with my overriding theme with the Lions tonight is it doesn't matter. just win. This style shit that everybody talks about all the time, I'm done with that. And that cuts both ways. I'm dismissive of the loss last week. It's just a loss. Mm-hmm. And if they get a win tonight, it's just a win. And they're all the same, man. That's how they keep track in this league, W's and L's.
Yeah, and I agree. The point I made today on the show, Neal, and I want your thoughts on this because I get what you're saying. And of course, I'll take a win any day of the week. I don't care what or how much you win by. But at the same breath, there's something about winning by 2 scores against a team that's just inferior, like by a lot. Like the Raiders, to me, they've scored, their offense at least, scored 21 times, over 20. So there's part of me, Neal, that I agree with you. You want to get out of there healthy and win. But the other part of me is like, man, go beat this team up. Go make a statement in a way. It's Monday Night Football at home, and you took that loss you did last week against the Ravens. Part of me wants a statement, at least 2 scores, 10 points.
It's a 1-score league, though, bro.
Yeah, it is. That's the thing. The people don't understand.
What's the spread tonight, Booner?
7.
Oh, 1 score.
7.5. It's a touchdown game. I try to explain to people this a couple years ago when I really started betting and getting into this stuff. You separate college and NFL. NFL, everyone is a dude. The worst team in the leagues, they still have dudes on their team. And it's always going to end up being a 1-possession game when it comes down to it.
Yeah, but
you're going to have to get a stop or you're going to have to get a score at the end of the game, whether you're going up against the worst team or the best team. Now, I'm with you, Jeff. You would like to see your team go out there and dominate the full game and win by a few scores. But it's still just win. Like to Neal's point, you just want to win the football game because you're going 6-2 is 6-2 at the end of the day. Like you beat the Chiefs.
Well, given where you are from a personnel perspective too, right? With no rag now, you got your bye next week. Survive in advance, man. I know everyone's calling for the 42-10 victory, and everybody's fueled up, and they've been downtown since 8 a.m. this morning. I can only imagine what the scene's like down there.
When it comes to it, though, like in the playoffs, like when you get to the playoffs, you're not going to sit there and just go in round 1. I want to beat this team by 20 points. You're I want to get to the next round. You don't care. I just want to win. It's the same thing. You're fighting for a seeding right now, and you're fighting. The NFC's wide open.
Yeah, but Booner,
it's wide open. You're just fighting to get to that next win.
So if you win by 3 tonight, you're cool.
Yes.
Look at now he's thinking. See, you were
I'll say I'm happy because you get the win.
Neal,
tell me
right
you're
now.
happy you get the win. There are going to be things to break down and say this is what you need to do better for the next team.
No, it's always going to be pass fail, bro. This isn't cumulative score or anything like that. It is pass fail. Jump into the WoodwardSports.com chat thread, by the way. Subscribe to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Budget Jim says Amon-Ra flu game loading. Easy, guys.
That's the type of ish.
We know Amon-Ra St. Brown's dad.
Yeah. Yep. He's for real.
He is
no
for real.
BS kind of guy.
Mr. John Brown. If he's out there, he's playing and he expects to perform.
Yeah. Hey, you got spit. All right.
Drink your spit. I did that. I did that when I was running at the Free Press Half Marathon. I know I'm not lying to you guys. About 9 miles in, I was like, man, could kind of use like some water or something like that. And all I heard was John Brown saying, "Drink your spit." So I did.
That's fair. I'm with Neal on that. People chime in. MPWMU says just win, maybe no style points. See, he's with you, Neal. A lot of people are as well. I get it. And by the way, I just want to win, man. Who cares? I mean, the NFC at this point is wide open as it is. You have the Eagles, of course, but after watching Lindsey Hunter's 49ers lose 3 straight, I just want to win, especially in the NFC. So
because guys, the dynamics flip now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, look, when we started this whole thing, it was win the division, get the home playoff game. But as you see teams kind of start to fall by the wayside now, and I count the 49ers as that, are they cooked? Are they dead? No, they're not. But I know what they are.
Right.
They've lost 3 in a row. And their quarterback's reeling a bit right now. And Brock Purdy's gone to the Daniel Jones Incorporated turnover factory school, and he's learning the lessons, and he's ramping up production. He's turned the ball over, 4 times in the last 3 weeks or so? Some crazy number. Like, this is how it works, man. Survive in advance.
Yeah, and Jeff, to your point too, like if you really do think about it, and if you look at it the aspect to where, hey, you want to go out there and blow teams out to prove you're that team and you can do it. I mean, then at that point, the loss last week that the Lions had, like, does it really take you away from? Because I still think the Lions can go out there and compete for the NFC even after that loss.
I think there's just
how I look at it, to where it's like, yeah, they lost. That's in the past. They still have proven that they can go out there and win any game possible, and they can compete for a 1 seed. So both sides of it, you can look at it that way.
Yeah, and by the way, part of it is just simply you let that loss from last week just sit, digest. You got demolished by the Ravens, which Ravens are a good football team. I don't want to take that away from them. But at the same time, man, like, you think those players are ready to go take out all that built-up anger on the Raiders? And Jimmy G, he was dealing with a back injury. I know he's back. Yeah. But still, Booner, we got some bets to get to later in the show that involve Jimmy G and involve that Lions defense.
And you know what I'm going to do in honor of being here with Booner on the Lions pregame show?
What do we got?
I'm going in on a Booner special. I have concocted one.
He's got a nice one, too.
For those of you that do not, that don't watch Big D Energy because there's something wrong with you mentally, I will tell you this. It's out of my comfort zone. I do pretty well at this, but I have an effort. Let's watch the game tonight. I'll get you lunch for the week.
Separate from the get right.
Separate. This is not a get right. Like, I'm not going to get you out of trouble with the mafia like I did for you this weekend.
Right.
But this is going to be like a lot of fun. Hey, Monday night, let's crack open some beers and let's make some money together.
That's fair.
It's a good bet, too. I've already seen. I saw the preview of it. I'm already locked in.
I love it when Neal's on the show. Booner's a little extra locked in the bets. He's dialing up the numbers a little more. He brings it on these pregame shows when you're here. So it's a good
Detroit
thing.
Dabber 313 just has my face emoji with money bags next to it. That's what it's been. BMG, confirm. Yeah. I know some people are like, are they documented? Are they documented?
They are
BMG?
documented.
He documents it, and he brings it up every week.
And I don't think people understand the impact, too, those bets make on people in the back. Like, Ryan is over here living and dying by your get rights. He's up. And he tells, hey, did you take Neal's get rights? I'm like, no. He goes, 3-0.
Because you're an idiot. I'm sorry to say it like that. And I don't mean you personally. I don't mean you in everyday life.
You would never insult him.
Yeah, as far as taking advantage of a financial windfall that's in front of you, I can only point you in the direction. Whether you walk that way is up to you.
You're giving me the cheat sheet. It's my choice to use it.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
He is.
You can't fish for him. You could just lead him to the lake.
Yeah, that's it.
And the thing is I'm supposed to be the gambling guy here. Everyone knows Booner doesn't lose. I say it all the time. There's Neal's get rights, and then there's Booner doesn't lose down here.
Okay,
the get rights are 70%, 80%. I dream about hitting 80%, man.
Oh my God!
Let's be honest. If you bet every day, you want to go 80%.
I don't want to know what my percentage is. It's not great.
I mean,
but
you drag my percentage down.
Killian Hayes.
It's a little okay. All right, that's a little aggressive.
Easy. This isn't Woodward Pistons.
Yeah. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's head to break. We come back. We get into some more matchups. We'll go Lions.
We're already through a segment already.
Yeah, Neal Ruhl.
Damn,
Uncle Neal. We get right through these, man. I mean, that's the Neal Ruhl effect. All right, we'll go to break. When we come back, you'll get to see some footage too. Shout out to our friends over at Bullseye Long Drink, of course. We'll be indulging in the long drinks during the stream. They give us the product. Boys,
we consume the product.
Yeah,
that's the way it works.
We consume the product. All right, we'll be right back. You're watching the Detroit Lions pregame show here
Let's go.
on the Woodward Sports Network. See you in a little bit.
The most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
What up, though, people? It's your boy, Raymond, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid. You know, with the ball, Noah Lucas Clark.
Yes, sir.
So we got Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions.
I can't wait.
The Raiders.
I'm juiced, man. This is going to be a big Detroit Lions win. I think a statement win, a rebound from Baltimore last week. Everything that Detroit Lions fans want to see in this game, I expect to see.
Hey, let's go. Hey, listen. So, I need your keys to the game tonight. On the offensive side of the ball, what are you expecting to see?
The Jahmyr Gibbs show. Plain and simple, flat out. That's what needs to happen. This man was taken 12th overall. The talent is there. It's undeniable, the talent. What has been kind of questionable is the usage of him, the play calling. I think we see Ben Johnson open up tonight. Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing, but obviously he's not 100% dealing with an illness. Lean on Jahmyr Gibbs. Get him in open field with these linebackers and safety. Let this man go off, whether it's on the ground or through the air. Let Jahmyr Gibbs have a show.
Look, you guys already know Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing tonight, which means he must have had that Detroit medicine, the Verners.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, we're drinking long drink down here. This is my medicine. My medicine, long drink.
Let's go. Now listen, I also need your keys for the defensive side. Look, we think that the Lions should have their way, but what do they need to do to ensure that this game is going to go the way they want?
Do not let Josh Jacobs have his statement game of the season. He just got signed to that contract. I believe it was a franchise tag. Either way, man wanted his money, and he's not showing you why. Do not let the Lions be the reason why Josh Jacobs shows you he wants more money. And then most importantly, man up on the wide receivers. Do not be 8-9 yards off. Get in Devontae Adams to Jacoby Myers-Grill. Make life difficult for him. You have excellent safety play behind Cam Sutton and Jerry Jacobs. Let those guys do their job. Make life hell for those wide receivers on the outside.
I like that. So you know what I need now, and that is your final score prediction for this game tonight.
I think it's going to be a lot like the Atlanta game. However, Atlanta's defense is much better than the Raiders' defense. So I'm going to go Lions 27, Raiders 10. Raiders 10. They get a charity touchdown at the end.
Listen, that's what we call domination.
Yes, sir.
Lions, bring home that dub. We're going to send it back to you guys at the studio now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kool-Aid, Lucas Klotz. Those boys are getting busy down there at Bullseye Event Group down at the tailgates at Eastern Market. Again, shout out to our friends over at Long Drink, Bullseye Event Group as well. Chris, you got the inactives loaded up. So here they are, official inactives for the game tonight, and you guys can see them for yourself. I just kind of went through them earlier and some guys that we kind of have officially out, but here you go. Out for the game. Wow. Lucas Klotz would be upset. Isaiah Buggs. Inactive. Stephen Gilmore, inactive. Jonah Jackson, David Montgomery, Levi Onwuzurike, and Frank Ragnow, all inactive. The Bucks one is a little surprising. I don't know if that's injury related or that's just.
I'm gonna try and find out now.
Yeah, please, Booner, because that
7-point favorite at home, win the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. And to speak more about the matchups, because I thought this was interesting, talking about the Raiders' defensive line versus banged up, obviously Frank Ragnow being out. Lions' offensive line, of course, Jonah Jackson out. You have Frank Ragnow out. You know, they'll make it work. They've shown they can. Graham Glasgow's played center. He's played in multiple positions on this offensive line. He should be fine at center tonight. He played it last year. But the other thing that I thought was interesting, Neal, is the Las Vegas Raiders on the season have 15 sacks. Max Crosby has 6.5 of those 15 sacks. So you're talking about a defensive line that does rely heavily on Max Crosby, who's getting paid to get after the quarterback.
No doubt. But again, you know, I know one side he won't be attacking, you know, the quarterback
Mr.
from.
Penei Sewell.
He will not be in Mr. Penei Sewell's neighborhood, and if he is, he'll be relocated inside the phone booth. Much the same way Micah Parsons was, much the same way Aaron Donald was, much the same way Nick Bosa was. I mean, go down the list. Because the bottom line is this. With Penei Sewell, you don't get pressures.
Yeah.
And that's factual. That's not what I think. That's not what I'm projecting. That's what happens. Mm-hmm. So I think, and I'm curious to see. Now, I know that they kind of toy him up a little bit where they'll move him around and things like that. But I know one side they won't be moving him to, and that is the right side. So it's almost the equivalent, I guess, of putting the shift on in baseball. What the Lions are going to be able to do with the offensive line. Because with Penei Sewell there, he ain't going over there from that side.
Right.
So you can kind of shift him to wherever, and that's where your help shade's over too.
Yeah, no, you're not. You don't want that smoke with Penei Sewell. To Neal's point, I mean, you look at how many pressures he's given up. Go check. He has not. So that's Penei Sewell for you. The interesting part about Max Crosby, though, a hell of a player. I know there's been trade rumors floating around. At least Lions fans trying to. I don't think they're going to trade Max Crosby, Booner. But the fact that about 40% of the sack production for the Raiders comes from Mr. Max Crosby. He's the one they got to worry about. If you could contain him, Booner, Jared Goff's going to sit in that pocket clean as ever.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of to the point, I do have a lot of confidence that Penei, there's a stat going out there that Penei's given up, I believe, 0 quarterback hits or something like that, leading the NFL all season long.
It's tough to be better.
Yeah, in pass coverage. So he's the best in the NFL at his position right now. I'm guessing Max Crosby is going to be on the opposite side.
Yeah,
of
which
that.
Taylor Decker's solid. I mean, he's not Penei Sewell, but still very solid.
And I'm confident in Taylor Decker. So I don't know the tackles that Max Crosby has been up against throughout the season so far, but I am confident that they can contain him to some point today. And that's the only guy that you really have to you really have to dial it in on is Max Crosby. And to your point as well, he's not leaving Las Vegas. It looks like I think you guys had the Vegas guy on your show as well. He was on E&E. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Oh, yeah, my guy Hondo Carpenter.
Yeah, and he said that there's no chance that the Vegas moves on from him. That is their franchise guy. if you stop him tonight, that offense is going to be buzzing. And that's how I look at it.
You know how you neutralize a pass rush, right? You run the football, and you got Penei Sewell, speaking of him as well, and you got a Raiders defense that's 24th in the league in rushing yards allowed. You run that damn football.
Because I see people talking about the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Is it okay if I hijack this for a minute here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And to your point about the Max Crosby thing, about him, quote unquote, not being moved or anything like that, here's my angle with it.
Okay.
Early returns, early projections on the trade market, to see Leonard Williams fetch a second and a fifth. And I know they were buying off some of the salary and things like that so they could slide him in under the cap. And this is going to be very, very unpopular. And so the people that say that, you like me in the chat thread, well, hold on. I could still screw that up, I guess. If that's the market for him, I am very, very much less interested in participating in these little reindeer games of the trade deadline. If he's a second and a fifth, now I know, again, and to just in case some of you didn't hear about that, Leonard Williams was traded from the Giants to the Seahawks. And the Seahawks asked the Giants to cover a lot of the money that's owed this year so they could fit him under the cap. Now, this is like the opposite of what Al Avila did at the trade deadline when they took Verlander and shipped him off. They said, hey, we'll take your crappy prospects.
And pay the price.
And, if you guys take a lot of this contract, we'll take the crappy prospects. To where real teams like the Mets, when they tore their stuff down, they said, hey, we'll pay all the money. Give me your best prospects. So, that's kind of what the Seahawks did. If he's a second and a fifth, what's Surtain going to be? If that, there's going to be big, crazy demands on what's going on. Because the trade deadline has shifted, everybody. It is NHL style now. It is NBA style now. And that's the way that it works. People will get caught up in frenzy. So just keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and to your point, Neal, if Leonard Williams set the market value for defensive ends, then I'm with you. Now, I think Chase Young's better than Leonard Williams. So to your point, if he went for a second and a fifth, and I know they're paying his salary, the Giants are, they basically, like you said, they paid the Giants to do it. With draft capital.
Yeah.
I'm curious what a guy like Chase or anyone from the Commanders would go for. Because
Montez Sweat.
It might even be, damn near a second and a third, a second and a fourth.
I'm out.
Which, to your point, that is a hefty
now,
price.
Yeah, and earlier this week there was the reports that you can get Montez or Chase Young for a second or a third. That was where I was like, okay, yes I will do that because this is the time to add something to kind of make a run. But to Neal's point, if that's where the trade the market is set. And it was the same thing a couple years ago in free agency with the Christian Kirk thing, where it kind of moved the trade market or the free agent and that whole salary cap thing with wide receivers. It moves the market a lot. That was the very first defensive lineman that got kind of traded in this little 2-day span. If that's it, I don't know if you give up two different picks for guys
no chance.
But if you could somehow still go do a second or a third and kind of do that for one of those guys, that's where I can do it. But if you're giving up two different picks,
let me run this by you guys real quick.
Okay.
And here's kind of my stance on it. Andrew Jones says the Giants fleeced the Seahawks. I agree with you. That is true. Jonathan Anton, Neal speaking the truth like normal. It's nothing new. Well, thank you for that, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Here's the thing with me. The most dangerous weapon this franchise has is not a pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's not a handoff to Jahmyr Gibbs. It's not even Penei Sewell in pass blocking. It's Brad Holmes handing in an envelope. How did this whole thing get changed? Why were we 1-6 12 months ago and now talking about positioning for the playoffs and can we get the number 1 overall seed? Why is that, Jeff?
Because of all the young talent he acquired through the draft.
Yes. Exclusively through the draft.
Yep.
Like that's why are we in the business of taking that away? Why do we want less of that?
I guess my point of it is, Neal, and this is where I'm coming from, is there has to be a point where you have a good collection of young talent that are on cheap contracts, and eventually you're going to get to a point where in the NFL, and you would agree that this is not a year-to-year league. Typically, anything can happen. Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles. Kirk tears his Achilles. Things happen, and if you're in a wide-open NFC, isn't there a part like for example, the John Schneider, the GM of the Seahawks, I think he's a really good GM. I do. But this move tells me, and you're right, I would say that the Giants won the trade, but this also tells me the Seahawks look at the NFC, they're in the lead for their division, they're saying, we're going all in. And I don't hate that either. So there's part of me where I agree with you, but there's also a part of it where I respect a GM for not sacrificing the future.
Yeah.
For 2 picks, you get a proven player that can help you right now in a wide open NFC. I don't think it's that crazy. But if you're overpaying for somebody, I'm with you. But if you can get someone for a second or a third, but Brad has found guys all throughout the draft.
Booner, like Williams, though, has been pretty mid this year, especially for the contract that he commands. That specific
example, I agree with you. Leonard Williams,
I'm not paying
This is where I'm at with it, and I've said this a lot on Woodward Nights the last couple of weeks talking trades. When you look at a GM, and Neal, I don't know if you agree with this, I think there's different aspects. It's just like in basketball or in the NFL. When you're looking at players and the way they play, there's different aspects to the game. In the GM world, there's can you make trades? How good are you at getting free agents on good contracts? And how good are you at drafting?
Right.
We saw what Brad Holmes can do in the draft world. A+. He is one of the best in the NFL at it. Now we're kind of moving, to me, the timeline part where you're at, where you're fighting for a 1 seed in the NFC. Your timeline it's cut off. You're there. He drafted his way to where.
See, but Booner, I disagree with that. Just in the respect that your window, if you continue to draft like this, your window is infinite.
Which he's going to have the draft picks still, no matter what. Even if he gets rid of 1 or 2, you're still going to have draft picks. He's done a good job of bringing in draft picks. He has enough to trade a little. He has enough to trade and keep some. To where I think if you really break it down and look at it, the window and everything's cut off. He's done such a good job at drafting, to your point, to where he's already made your timeline go. You're a year or 2 ahead. You're already contending right now. So now you're at the point to where, all right, let's flip from can Brad Holmes draft to he's in that next phase of can you make trades and can you compete with the Seahawks who made moves, 49ers who have made a couple moves,
the Eagles.
The Eagles have made moves. Now you're on that tier to where he's going to draft no matter what. He's going to find a way to bring in more draft capital when the draft comes.
You have to have picks, though, to do it. You have to have picks.
Which he has. He's brought some in. He's already gotten some. When the Hawk trade, use that trade. Use that.
Well, those were just swaps. That they weren't additional draft picks. Those were just swaps.
And that worked out for him, right?
He kept the picks. Up. Yeah, he kept the picks.
Which you can use that. There's ways I feel like, though, that you can still. And Brad showed us too in the draft that he's going to trade in the draft. So he's going to go out if he wants to obtain more picks.
Yeah.
He's going to find a way to do it. Which that's what he's good at. Is drafting. He will find a way to get himself draft picks. But right now, if you can give up a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th just to bring in a piece to help you get that 1 seed, a piece, because you might. I mean, he's going to be there the next 3 or 4 years.
Let me ask
let's
Neal.
Get there and let's keep that thing rolling. That's how I look at it.
Let me try and break bread with you. I'll ask you this. Do you agree, like, for example, John Lynch or Howie Roseman, that there comes a point in time where you can draft great talent, which Brad has proven that, but wouldn't you agree there's a point in time where there's a player somewhere or there's a move that needs to be made where John Lynch and Howie Roseman, great GMs, but they've proven, hey, if we're in a win-now window and this is our opportunity, we'll be aggressive. Isn't there eventually going to be a time for Brad to do something like that?
Oh, or you think he'll just, don't get me wrong. Okay. Like, I'm not saying
not now,
in time. I'm just saying, like, they were still 1-6 11 months ago or 12 months ago.
So that's
you know
where
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, like, and the talent evaluation or the talent acquisition, to me, is not finished yet. Like, they don't have. Can we be honest for a minute? Like, I know that we're hyped up and stoked, not scared, and all that kind of stuff. But when you look across the rosters of the Lions, the Eagles, and the 49ers, right? That the Lions would finish 3rd in that competition. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Am I going to get filleted in the chat right now?
No.
I think there's holes
fair.
in the roster.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's fair. That's why we're talking about trade deadline.
But that's why I'm saying 12 months ago you were 1-6. Like, I know that we've kind of busted into the party here. Like, I understand that. But we got to keep an eye on the whole thing as a whole. And look, in the WarSports.com chat thread, Mr. Ray says, we know Brad can draft, but you're hoping guys develop over time. Why wait when we can add a legit star or an asset right now? And Mr. Ray, I'll tell you this. And Jeff, he's kind of on your wavelength right there.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, and I've always said this. Now, that's not to say that I won't pay for quality. I will pay for quality. I've always said that. And I know the price is steep, right? If you guys are in this mode, my problem is I'm not in the market of giving a 2nd and a 5th for a guy that's going to walk in 4 months.
Okay.
I'm not in that. Even running the risk of that, I'm not in that. Now, if you want to do this, and like this is just a generalization. You want to make the phone ring in Denver for like a Surtain or something like that. I will pay for quality with a couple years of team control, still on a rookie deal. I'll pay that premium, like how the Seahawks paid a premium. You know what I'm saying? To acquire the cap space in order to make the deal. I'll pay for quality. But I'm not out here like a Chase Young thing saying, hey, I'll give you a first and a third or a second and a third. No, there's too many questions, man. I don't want the doctor to have to come in and tell me, yeah, go ahead and make that move. If I got to ask the doctor, I'm out.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. Now
I think the second and fifth is fair because, like, if it was like, again, I'll say it again, if it's a second or a third and you're getting a guy that's the point, I think, of the trade deadline is getting those contracts of players that are going to be free agents by the end of the year, and you can get them for one pick. But what the Seahawks did is they basically overpaid, and they killed the market instantly, and they made it look – and kudos to them because they know there's other teams in the NFC that need guys, and they did that, and now it's tough for they're going to hurt other NFC teams, which is – think about it. That's good for them. It's a win-win for them.
And we're all kind of aligned, and I get what Neal's saying 100%. Like, you don't want to trade for a guy that'll boot out of here right after the season. He's a rental. I get all of that. I guess part of it was we'll see. I mean, the Lions, it's a wide-open NFC, and it's a chance for Brad Holmes to improve this team. We'll see what kind of offers are out there.
Can I do one real quick here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why You Always John says, what if a second-rounder gets us a player that can help us win the championship? You mean a second-round pick like, I don't know, Brian Branch or Sam Laporta, like a second-rounder like that, right?
Well, that's fair, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, guys, like, I know we're fired up. I get it. But let's not just, throw common sense in the trash because those were second-round picks last year. Are they making an impact right now?
No, and by the way, the second round pick thing, I'm actually with you. I guess I saw what Kevin Byard went for, a fifth and a sixth, like stuff like that. If you could get a guy that could just help your football team for a late round pick, I'm all for it. But first, second, third, I
what I was saying earlier, though, the fact Brian Branch, what did you do? You traded up to get him. Brad Holmes, even if you trade away a pick, he's going to find a way. If he likes a guy in the second round, he's always going to find a way to trade up or trade to get that pick. So that's also, you can look at, I don't know, that's how I look at it. You can look at it both ways to where you can look at that and go, hey, he can go back and get a second pick if he wants.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. We'll go to break real quick when we get back. We'll talk more. We'll kind of finish up this discussion. We'll talk more about the Lions. No, I love it. It's great conversation. People want to know stuff like that. All right, we'll talk about the Lions defense when we come back. Thank you guys for tuning in. You're watching the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network, brought to you by our friends over at Bullseye Event Group and Long Drink.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. How would you like to win not one, but two vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Woodward Sports' own Tom Massaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
What up, though, people? It's your boy Detroit Kool-Aid. I'm hanging out with the Detroit Lions. Let's go. Hey, can I get a roar or something? Roar! Oh, let's go! Hey, let's go! Tell me your names and where you're from.
Jason from St. Clair Shores.
Brendan from Richmond, Michigan.
Sarah from St. Clair Shores.
Tony from West Bloomfield.
Hey, you guys are super committed, so I already know that the Lions are winning tonight.
Oh, hell yeah.
What's the final score prediction?
Oof.
You're speaking for the group now.
27-7.
Oh, what is it?
27-7.
Total domination over the Raiders. I'm loving this. Everybody is so confident. What I'm going to ask you, though, is who is your key player of the game to make sure the Lions win 27-7?
Oh, if I had to pick anyone, I got to say Amon-Ra Brown. He's just a baller. I know he's a little sick right now, but I'm thinking at least a touchdown, maybe two tonight.
Hey, let's go. Let's go. I love to hear that.
Gotta be Jared in a bounce back game. He's coming back. Goff. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. He's got it.
All right. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, listen. Who's your player of the game tonight?
Definitely Goff. Come on now.
Let's go. So this is just a confident bunch of Lions right here. This is the one pride then, huh?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. One pride.
All right, listen, for the defense, do you guys have any keys or players of the game for them to absolutely stomp out the Raiders?
You got to shut down Devontae and Josh Jacobs.
And that's it? That's it?
Boy, that's it. Second level. It's second level. We gotta. If their running backs get to the second level, we got to get them there. And we got to take away that underneath, that middle of the field from Devontae. If we let one go over the top, I mean, that's Devontae. We can't let him beat us all day over the middle. Bottom line.
Listen, I love this, man. Lions fans have packed this. It's packed inside of the tailgate. It's packed outside. It's fans everywhere. It's food. It's music. Good vibes. So we already know what it's going to be. A Detroit Lions victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to send it back to you guys at the studio.
Thank you, Kool-Aid down there at Eastern Market, man. These Lions fans,
people are into it. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah.
Let's just say it like that.
Yeah, you kind of spoke facts there during the break. I mean, the Converse, the All-Stars, they kind of give it away. He ain't got no kids.
You don't got kids if you got Converse All-Stars.
No,
you ain't got no kids.
That's a bar right there. We're back. It's the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Welcome in, Jeff Iafrate, Neal Ruhl, Booner, BMG, and Chris Platte, all joining you as always. Breaking news, which this is per what?
All right, say the breaking news because there's a twist to it. I just found out.
Well, no, you got the information.
So
what do you got?
The Raiders Twitter, the Raiders social team, I believe, tweeted out last week's inactives on accident from what I'm reading, and Jimmy G was on last week's. They put up a new one. Brian Hoyer's inactive, Jimmy G's go.
How does that happen?
I don't know, but I just saw a tweet, and then I saw a quote tweet saying Raiders must have tweeted out the wrong inactives. Jimmy G is a go. Brian Hoyer's inactive.
Ooh.
I'm gonna dive in a little bit more and make sure
someone's losing their job. Neal Ruhl,
that's rough.
That's what that sounds like.
That is rough.
You can't mess that up. Jimmy G is apparently not inactive. That's what we were told before the break. But hey, it happens. It is what it is. Not over here at Woodward Sports. Not typically. All right.
I do have the full inactives I'll send over, though.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that, Booner. All right, I want to talk more about this Lions defensive line because me and Neal, we were chopping it up before the show, too, about some of our expectations. And me and Booner, we have some money on some things. We'll get to it at 7:15. We'll get to our best bets. But this defensive line, Neal, it's a game for them to get right.
No,
it really is.
And here's a little plot twist for you because we talked about Buggs as inactive.
Mm-hmm.
So you know who is active? Broderick Martin is active. He's not on the inactive list, right? Are we going to get a Broderick Martin sighting today?
I hope so. What about Charles Harris is apparently now active too because he was inactive last week, so he's back.
Rose.
I hope we get a Broderick Martin. I hope so. That's a guy that people have been talking about, and I'm excited for. I mean, you see how big he is.
Big Con 51. Broderick's going to have a big game tonight. I can smell it.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs. You need a guy like that. Push guys, like you say,
this
forward.
way.
Yeah,
yep.
this way. But Booner, you got any update on that? What's going on? So Jimmy G's playing. Right?
I'm diving in. Broder just sent me a picture of the paper that they got in the press box. Jimmy G is playing.
Okay, thank you.
Divine Diablo is listed as out, starting linebacker. I believe Brian Hoyer is out. James McCourt, kicker, out. I don't think that has anything to do with anything. Tyler Hall is out. Another one, corner. I don't think he plays much. Christian Wilkerson out. Byron Young, a defensive tackle, out. And Nesta Jade Silvera is out. I don't think any of those were big besides Divine Diablo.
Yeah, Diablo's a starting linebacker, which, they already have some linebackers out currently. But still, you talk about this Lions defensive line. I think this is a get-right game. Neal, this is a team that leads the league in pressures. But I know how you feel about pressures. They're not sacks.
No, they're sacks. Give me sacks.
They still impact the game, but not as much as a sack is a drive stopper.
Now, I don't want sacks as much as you two do tonight. I'm not financially vested in it the way that you guys are.
Very financially invested.
Okay, thanks for the clarity now.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys tell me, right? There comes a time where pressure's got to result in sacks, man. They do. And look, I don't know what the answer is, the Hutch thing, that you need somebody on the other side. I don't care who gets there. Somebody get there. Somebody get there.
Yeah.
Period, end of story.
And by the way, the whole thing on that, too, I agree with you. And you've seen Aiden this year. I mean, the last 2 games, I don't think he has a sack in the last 2 games. I might be mistaken, but especially last week, that whole defensive line was – they struggled. It's end of story. My guy, Josh Pascal, I want to see him tonight, too, as well. But you just expect more out of him. I mean, Aleem McNeil had a great start to the season. He struggled a little bit, but this is a get-right game for this defensive line, Booner. You're talking about Josh Jacobs coming to town. They've done well against great running backs. I'm not as much worried about the run defense. When Jimmy G drops back to pass, when you're up 14, when you're up 10, up 17, whatever it is, get home.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And obviously we have the bet for, and we'll talk about it in the Booner bet segment, but 5 sacks for about plus 1,600. And the way I looked at it, and I'm with you, Neal, on that as well, just all these pressures are, and we talked about this the last time, they're cute, but
they're great. They're a great PFF graphic.
Yes, and at some point you do have to get to the quarterback and get him. But what we've seen with this Lions team is the quarterbacks they're not getting those sacks on. Geno Smith, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Those are mobile guys who can move out of the pocket. They can get out. They can move around. You're going to get pressure on them, but that pressure, they can get out of that. Tonight, to me, Jimmy G is not a guy like he doesn't have that mobility.
He's a statue,
as other,
Booner.
Yes. So once you do get those pressures on him, he's a guy to me that goes down. And it's like the Khalil Mack a few weeks ago versus Jimmy G. 6 sacks. And I believe Jimmy G went out later in that game, but I believe he had like 4 sacks on him at one point. So that's where I'm at today. It's, hey, you guys are getting these pressures versus a quarterback like this. If you don't get sacks, maybe Tuesday Brad Holmes better be on the phone trying to get someone, because if you're having those pressures and you can't sack Jimmy Garoppolo, you're not going to do that in the playoffs.
No.
So you better, like, if you get 0 sacks tonight or 1 sack tonight, there's a problem to me. That's where I think they turn things around. They get a 5 sack. They've already had 5 and they've already had 7 this year.
We've seen
tonight's a 5 sack night to me at Ford Field.
And Paul Thomas says Booner don't lose.
BNL, brand new Lions. Booner never loses.
Yeah.
Unless I attach myself to your parlay.
That's not me, though. That's Jeff and Booner.
Okay, so it's my fault.
Well, that's Jeff and Booner. You said it's your fault.
I have a curse.
You have some weird voodoo going on.
But the other question, yeah, that is true. The other question I have for this defense, though, and Broder brought this up on Woodward in Maine today, and I thought it was an interesting point. Where the Raiders have their best players, I mean, and maybe Max Crosby as well with a banged-up offensive line, but it seems like it's going against a weakness for the Lions. You got Devontae against a banged-up secondary. You got Max Crosby against a banged-up offensive line. To your point, though, Panay Sewell, you're confident in him, but that is a good point.
No, and look, too, this is going to happen at some point tonight, so everybody just, kind of shelf the tweets and stuff like that. Davante Adams has the 4th most touchdowns in primetime football since 1970.
That's a fact.
Of anybody ever. Ever? Yes, ever. The 4th most ever in the history of football in primetime. He's going to shake loose at some point tonight. Now, you hope, obviously, that it's when you're ahead, but he is a very good football player.
Yep.
And he will get his before it's all said and done. So, you're not going to pitch a shutout. This is where I was talking about earlier with the style point thing. I'm not into it. Davante Adams can get loose. He's good. He drives a Mercedes, too. You know what I'm saying? So, It's just, for me, guys like that are going to get loose from time to time. They're in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. So be prepared.
Davante Adams is one of the best in the NFL at his position.
Yeah,
Neal.
So let's not act like he's just going to go out there and have 30 yards and 2 catches.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like you say, those guys drive Mercedes too. They do. They get paid to beat you as well. In this comment, I'm going to read because I do agree with this to some extent here. Matt says, I see pressures like hitting the baseball hard. Eventually, it'll start translating into hits. It's not perfect, but it's close. I think some of those pressures, they're going to have to translate. Like they had 2 games, 7 sacks, 5 sacks.
You saw in some games.
Yeah, go get 5 tonight for financial purposes. But I'm just saying that.
I do. You know what, though? The more I think about it, the more I don't hate that. 5 sacks at 16-1, you said?
16-1. It's moved already to 14.
On, like, Neal, that is ridiculous. Like, just to throw a little $10
the last time they had 5 sacks, I was sitting right here with D-Mac and the whole crew here, and we hit it together. It was like that time, it was like plus 2,100. So,
damn. Good for you.
Nothing. You wouldn't attach it to your get right, but, it's more of a Hail Mary. That could be a get out of the mob type of thing if you're desperate.
Yeah, like if they're going to kill you at midnight anyway. You know, one last little Hail Mary right there.
Yeah.
You're dying anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let's get to Booner's bets. But of course, Neal has a.
Oh yeah, this is why I agreed to do the show today.
Yeah, that's it. To get the people what the doctor ordered. Which I'll tell you one thing. I might hop on that parlay. I'm not gonna lie to you because me and Booner got some stuff.
I already
we'll speak
hopped
to
on
it. You already did?
Oh,
Wow,
man.
damn. All right, he's quick.
I say it all the time, real quick, before we do.
Yeah,
I say it all the time when people tell me parlays and send me parlays. My biggest fear is missing out on it. If you send me a parlay, I have to play it.
That's not.
I text Jeff sometimes and Lucas. I'm like, dude, you guys have to stop sending me parlays.
Oh, I know, and I know this is your
place them.
forte. The parlay is not where I live. You know, like it's not my thing. Like people, I know they seduce you and they look so good on paper. On paper, man, you're just like, hey, baby.
I do.
What? Hey, how you doing tonight? You all right? Huh? You don't go out for a steak dinner or something like that? Huh?
You're peeking over the top.
Yeah.
Neal, I do try to tell the people though. Like I do a lot of straight play. Like you can ask. Like I try to teach Jeff this. It's 1 or 2 parlays in the night. If like a game like this, you have to put a couple straight plays on because those are the ones that make you your money.
Yeah.
And in a parlay, what I do, I make my money in my straight plays, and I do have some today. And if a parlay hits, I'm just that much richer.
A parlay can turn a good night into a great night.
Now, you're just that much richer.
But it could also turn a good night into a bad night.
Unless you have your straight plays. Yeah. And that's where I'm at.
That is true.
Mike M. in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread says, I should be working, but I'm listening to you guys, LOL. Well, hey, take the parlays. You can quit your job.
Yeah.
Just quit it.
Hey,
quit it right now. Tell them, nah, F you guys, I'm not doing it. Give me that candy. Where's that parlay? All right, Booner, lay it on us, man.
All right, let's go to break. We'll get to Booner's bets, of course. Thank you guys for tuning in. By the way, if you haven't already, hit the like button. We're at 164 likes. Let's try to get to 200 by the end of the show. We get another hour here with you guys but first, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. You're tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show brought to you by the Woodward Sports Network. See you in a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
All right, we are back down here at Eastern Market, and look what I found. I dragged myself up here, a Raiders fan. Damon, how we feeling tonight?
Good, man. You didn't have to look too far. There's a little white and black and silver out here.
There is a decent showing, especially coming from Vegas. But, we're all big Lions fans around here. We obviously think the Lions are going to win. Are you expecting a Raiders W tonight?
Absolutely not. So, I mean, honestly, I think it's the first Monday night game since 2018 for you all. You guys are the better team. I mean, right now, if you look at the draft, we're picking 12th. The win tonight gets us to 9 because all the games are in the books. I'm in that Drake May, Caleb Williams show, so quite frankly, I'd like for you to get a W. I want to look good doing it, though.
So you kind of want to take the tank route. Not exactly, but an organic tank. Now, one question I do have. Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams on the outside. Those are legit guys now. I know you guys have a lot of holes on your roster, but Jacoby Myers, especially recently, has been balling out. What do you think if the Raiders would have a path to win this game? where would it come through?
Yeah, so I think you're all over it. Great call. I mean, Jacoby Myers, 3-year deal with New England. They decided to sign Juju Smith-Schuster. Whoops. That didn't work out so good. So Jacoby's played really good for us. I think, honestly, you're going to see it in the tight end game tonight. So I think Jimmy coming back is going to want to get rid of the ball pretty quick. I think Michael Mayer, getting him going a little bit more. Second-round pick from Notre Dame, kind of a local guy for y'all. Yep. I'm from Kentucky, so he's big up there. But honestly, I think you guys win probably by 10 or 15 points.
10 or 15 points, let me ask you. You brought up Michael Mayer. What are your opinions on Lions rookie tight end Sam Laporta?
Dude, Iowa guy. So, man, I mean, he got picked right before Michael in that early second round there, and we actually moved up.
A lot of Lions fans were questioning that decision. A lot of them wanted Mayer instead of Laporta.
If I'm a Lions fan, I say, how you like me now? Sam has absolutely lit it up for you all. So, quite frankly, I'm happy with Michael, and I think you should be happy with Sam. I think it's one of those win-wins, but I think Sam will continue to do well, and Jared seems to trust him.
Look at that, a Lions and Raiders fan, breaking bread. Damon, appreciate you coming on, and we'll send it back to you guys at the studio.
Lucas Klotz talking to a Raiders fan, huh? You found one in the crowd.
Was that a Jerry Rice jersey he had on? Did we ever get that established?
I did not look. It might have been. It might have been. It's your type of conversation, Neal. He wants to take. He's all for draft capital.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Jerry Rice thing, though. That was embarrassing. That whole end of Jerry Rice's career, that was embarrassing.
Can we just remove it?
Yeah, no, it's there forever. It's like the Emmitt Smith Cardinals thing. That was like, dude, just ride off. Yeah. Just ride off. It's over.
Adrian Peterson wants to come back.
That's how I feel about MJ in the Wizards. I mean, but I get it was for other purposes.
It was an ownership. You know,
I get the purposes.
Was ownership. Like, I got that.
But I'm with you about Jerry Rice. I am. But that man is all for tanking. You heard it from the fan himself, Lucas Klotz, Kool-Aid down there at Eastern Market at the tailgate. Shout out to our friends again at Bullseye and Long Drink. I want to get into Booner's bets. And of course, I'm not an expert. I have no right to speak. I got Neal Ruhl and, of course, Booner next to me. But I'll be chiming in from time to time. But Booner, what do you got for us today?
I have a few things. And I know, Neal, you have your parlay. I have a little Lions parlay. But then I have 4 or 5 single bets that I'm riding with. And if you guys have been tuning into the pregame show the last 3 weeks, I found a little bit of a rhythm of saying, hey, let's just focus on one player who's going to go off. And we can trust that player. I've been doing that 3 weeks. First week I believe it was Sam Laporta or Amon-Ra St. Brown. Everything hit. The next week it was the opposite. I did like Amon-Ra St. Brown or Sam Laporta. I can't remember which week it was. Both of them hit each week. And last week we did Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown and Sam Laporta's overs last week, and they all hit. So I'm doing it again this week. I'm going one player. Starting linebacker hurt for the Raiders. They have a few linebackers already out. Fellas, we're going Sam Laporta day today. I have confidence that Sam Laporta, his line is at 4.5. I got it last night at over 4.5 for plus 126.
Okay.
I believe it's already at minus 110-ish around that line. Still love it. Over 4.5 catches, and then as well as his line, I got it at 44.5 yards. It's at 47.5. I like it at 47. You see Sam Laporta today get 5 catches for about 60, 65 yards, I believe. And then as well as you see Sam Laporta in the end zone. Hasn't had a touchdown in a few weeks. He's one of the biggest red zone threats that the Lions have, and they go at him a lot in the red zone, him and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Sam Laporta does get one. It's plus 160. That's where I got it. I believe it's still around the same price. That's where I'm at. That's the Booner legacy player of the day. That's what I've been calling it, the legacy player of the day.
Yeah, we had that discussion on how Amon-Ra St. Brown impacts his teammates. I think one of those guys will impact is Sam Laporta. I mean, name me a linebacker that can guard him on that team right now, especially with all the injuries they have. I don't mind it. Now, when Neal chimes in, I got to preface this. This is not a get right, but Neal,
no.
For Sam Laporta, in a way, it is a little bit of a get right.
This is not, guys. Let me preface this for those that are watching me for the first time. I'm not. They don't usually catch Big D energy. Maybe you got something going on during the day. Don't check out me and Darren McCarty from 11 to 1. This is not a get right. Okay, it's not a get right. Which the get right is 47-19 since the first day I stepped on the network. 47-19. It is not that. This is let's bong a beer. We're here with the bros. Let's get one in. Maybe we can win some lunch money for the week. Here we go, everybody.
Talk to me, Neal.
You're ready. We got Josh Reynolds, over 2.5 catches. Here's the rest of the parlay, and it's going to make sense. I have a Jamison Williams anytime touchdown. Ooh. And the reason why it's in, before Amon-Ra got announced as playing, he was plus 230 anytime touchdown. That's way south of what it has been. So methinks Vegas was trying to tell you something a little bit with that line. They didn't want you taking it. I think Jamo's going to get in the end zone. And as an add-on to that, if Jamison gets in the end zone, chances are it's going to be over 24 yards, right? Chances are, you would think, his receiving total for the evening is 24.5 yards. So here's what we do. We're wrapping this all up in a package. We got Jameson Williams anytime touchdown. We got Jameson Williams over 24.5 yards. We got Josh Reynolds over 2.5 catches. Your return on a mere $100 bet is $942 plus $942 for the Mathlete challenged out there. We're taking a swing. It all kind of vibes with each other.
Right.
It all kind of vibes with each other. So there it is, everybody. Have a great week of lunches on old Neal Ruhl.
You know what?
I locked it in.
You locked it in, and by the way, they all kind of coincide. You talk about J-Mo, the yards are going to hit because if he catches a touchdown, most likely it's going to be quite the deep shot there, Booner. So I like his parlay. I'm going to ride that with him, I think.
I love it.
And you're already locked into it.
I'm locked in.
Harold Williams in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread says J-Mo gets a rushing TD. Well, there we go. We're in.
Yep.
I would love to see that, to be honest.
They got to use him in the run game, though. I mean, they just have to.
Let's go Red Wing Sparty. Nice package, Uncle Neal.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Well.
So there it is.
All
I like
right.
it. You got anything? You got anything, Juicy J?
No.
We do have a couple.
Not me individually. Booner gives me the picks. I analyze them, and then I roll with them. I'll bring some to Booner sometimes. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. But I let Booner cook. You already read off what we have, correct?
I did. We have the Lions 5+ sacks.
Yep.
I got it at plus 1,600. I haven't checked what it is now, but the last time I checked, it was already at plus 1,400. So it's moved a little.
The streets be hearing.
They heard it, and they've been placing it. So I'm telling you that. My best bet, though, I think tonight, and I know I already gave out the Laporta ones, my favorite thing, I gave it out Friday on Woodward Nights. I think this Lions team puts up points tonight. Yeah. I think after last week, they're going to put points up at home. Their team total is over 27.5. I love that play. I think that's 4 touchdowns or a couple 3 touchdowns and some field goals. I think that 28 hits no matter what tonight.
How's that juiced?
It was minus 110, I believe, when I got it. Let me check real quick. I put it in last night. I can double check if it's moved. I wouldn't be surprised if that's moved to like 28.5 by now.
Big Con 51. I don't bet on the Lions for superstitious reasons, but damn, Neal, that is tempting.
Beautiful.
And Dylan Jones.
It can't lose. Famous parlay last words. I don't see how it loses.
Yeah. Dylan Jones says, I'm either getting a new car or a new house, or losing my car. That's fair. One of the two are happening.
One of the two are going to happen.
You're either getting a new house or you're losing your car.
Gas is expensive anyway,
It
so
is.
you know what
That's
the hell.
fair. Right.
Give me a full tank. A couple full tanks, actually.
What were you going to say, Booner?
So it's moved actually down 1 point to 26.5, but that's like minus 128 around there. I got it last night at like plus 105, so I got it at plus money at 27.5. Last thing I have here before we go to break, guys, and Neal, I want to hear your thoughts on this. This was a parlay I put in a day ago. 5 legs. And I didn't see it. When I gave it out to some people, I couldn't see where it loses. First one, Detroit Lions money line. They win the game today. Josh Reynolds, 25 receiving yards. I think that hits. That's a 2-catch, 25 yards. Sam Laporta, obviously, I threw him in there with my little plays. I did 4 receptions and 40 yards. Just 4 catches for 40 yards. He's been doing that. And the last one, Jahmyr Gibbs, 25 receiving yards out of the backfield. That last week was a huge that we saw that a lot from Jahmyr Gibbs last week, especially with Dima out. I know they kind of went out, they couldn't get the run game going, so that's what they've been doing. I think they stick with that. They're going to run the ball with Jahmyr, but I still think, hey, we're going to find different ways to get him the ball. That's plus 695.
Yeah, the numbers are manageable.
Yes.
You know, like the numbers are more than reasonable. And again, guys, like this isn't my prescription. I don't do this all the time. But it's Monday night. Have some drinks.
Let's go.
Get it in,
Have
everybody. Get hype about it. Derek R. Neal's picks are as solid as a bottle of E.H. Taylor. No pick is that solid. E.H. Taylor is goated.
Never heard of it.
Goated. That's the good bourbon. That's the good bourbon.
All right, I'll tell you what. Good transition, Booner, because we're going to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs when we get back and what kind of game we expect him to have, because I do think another opportunity for him as RB1. He's coming off a big game last week. Of course, we'll talk about him and more. You're tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network, brought to you by our friends over at Long Drink and Bullseye Event Group. We'll see you right after the break.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line, featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
What up, though, people? It's your boy Detroit Kool-Aid, and look, I'm checking in with somebody who has a great name. You want to tell the people your name and where you're from?
Brandon, I'm from Fraser, Michigan.
Great name, Brandon. Hey, I like that. Hey, listen, are you excited about this Monday Night Football game? Tell me what you're excited about, man.
I'm excited to see the boys win by about 25 points tonight. 38-13.
So dominate. I need you to look into the camera and say domination.
Domination. All grit.
I love it. Listen, who is your player of the game? Who do you think is going to be the standout for the Lions?
I think Sam Laporta is scoring first. I think he's scoring for sure tonight. I also think Gibbs is going to have a big game.
How many yards? I saw that the over-under was like 100.5 for total yards for Jahmyr Gibbs. What is he doing tonight in this total domination of the Raiders?
120 yards.
So you're very, very confident about this. What do you think the defense is going to do tonight?
I think Aaron Glenn showed that after a bad game he steps up. So I don't think they're scoring more than 21.
I like that. Listen, you got to give the people your final score prediction. You're already predicting a dominating blowout, but let's give the people what the final score will be.
38-13 Detroit.
I like you. Listen, Brandons are cool people here, man. Listen, we're going to send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Kool-Aid, over there at, of course, Eastern Market, talking to Lions fans. Guys, hold it down, man. You guys are doing a great job. You see the Lions fan, though. He thinks Aaron Glenn bounced back performance from him from a coaching perspective incoming. But we just got through Booner's bets. Of course, Neal gave his secret parlay, of course not associated with the Get Right. He still gave a parlay, a free parlay. You didn't have to pay for it for the people. So that's quite the gesture.
Plus 942.
Plus 942. That's very nice of you.
Let's take a spin.
Hey, put it in now before it changes.
Yeah.
Get that in now.
I'm saying it is in the streets now. So what the streets do with it is what they do with it.
So it's not up to you. All right, let's get into Jahmyr Gibbs because, guys, another opportunity for him as RB1. He's the starter. Of course, Dave Montgomery dealing with that rib injury, and you expected to maybe see him after the bye week. But he is out tonight, Monday Night Football. Jahmyr Gibbs gets the start. Another big opportunity for him. We saw him break out last week, at least in the receiving side of things, and that was one of my favorite things about Jahmyr Gibbs is his explosive ability in the passing game. That's something that I've been clamoring for so far with Jahmyr, and he had an opportunity last week. I get it was in garbage time, but still, he scored on a halfback toss. He was involved in the passing game as well. I believe he caught like 6 balls along with that. I expect another big game out of Jahmyr. You talk about a guy that you could check down to. You could line up at the slot. He'll make you miss. And, of course, before Amon-Ra St. Brown, I thought he was going to have a big game. But even with Amon-Ra, Neal, I think this should be another big one for Jahmyr. Maybe not necessarily in the run game. He might get 60, 70, 80 yards, but I think in the passing game, he'll have just as many. I do believe.
Yeah, and we had this in the afternoon show today where people were talking about, they were talking real reckless today. Oh, I need to see Jahmyr with 20 carries and 10 receptions. I'm like, guys, easy, everybody, okay? Easy. I think that the Lions have proven they're not going to be reckless with his use. And there's a fine line, right, between giving him the ample opportunity and being reckless with it. He is a first-year guy. He is getting to that point where he's going to play more football games this year than any season ever in his life. And even still, we're getting to that point really quick here. You know, when you're Alabama, you know, you look at lots of fourth quarters off and things like that. So it's just people need to temper the expectations in terms of like he's going to be dropped in here like he's in his 5th year in the league and be Austin Eckler. You know, he's not yet. Like he's not there yet. I do grow tired of that from time to time. But you're right though, Jeff. I mean, in a spot. You're counting on him tonight. Yeah, you are. And Jahmyr Gibbs knows that. I think we know that. I think the Raiders know that because Montgomery's not available. So, yes, he has to shoulder that load tonight. Again, not reckless, but a healthy diet, I think, is fair.
Yeah, and Booner, to what we talked about earlier with J-Mo, I mean, you talk about right now the running back situation with the Lions. No David Montgomery, and trust me, Craig, Netflix Reynolds, good change of pace guy.
Come on, Craig.
But he's not a guy you're going to consistently depend on. To Neal's point, though, a guy that you could put in there to take some of the workload off of Jahmyr Gibbs, but you'd argue, and you'd win this argument, J-Mo and Jahmyr, your two most explosive weapons.
Yeah.
He's got to have a big one tonight.
I say this a lot. I still believe that those two guys have the highest ceiling on that offense and what they can prove. I keep going back to this comparison that everyone always just said. Jahmyr Gibbs is the Alvin Kamara type player, right? And if you look at his rookie year, and I said this on the pregame show last week, it didn't take until week 5, week 6, when he had Melvin Ingram in front of him that, you know, he had someone in front of him as well until he really kind of came out and he started really playing well. And you have to adapt. Like Neal said, this is a rookie. This isn't someone that's just coming into the league that's just, oh, yeah, he's going to go off right away. He's in a Bijan situation where he is going to get all the touches.
Yeah, and by the way, look at old Bijan this year. He ain't whatever, you know, he's not this 25-plus carry a guy that everybody thought he was going to be. He's got things taken away from him. 100%.
And he's a rookie. And
that's how it works.
Kamara, he didn't get his first 100-yard game until his 6th game in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs just got his first one last week in his 5th game. This is going to be his 6th game in the NFL. You have to let him work into this. Let him do what Kamara did. Kamara ended up winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
He did.
And it took him 5 or 6 weeks to even get a feel in that offense and really come out and be himself. That's where I'm starting to see Jahmyr Gibbs where let's not go at him. Let him go in. He has the reins right now. David Montgomery's out. He's going to get the touches tonight. He's going to get the 15 to 20 touches tonight. Mm-hmm. Let's see what he can do with it. He got 100 yards last week out of it.
The comparison I've always made when they took Jahmyr and they signed Dave Montgomery is Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara. That was always what I envisioned. And you saw both those guys. I mean, Alvin Kamara, what he did his rookie year, 800. And then you have Mark who had over 1,000. That's what I envisioned with David Montgomery. And to your point, Booner, now, to also the point we made earlier, you mentioned it with Bijan, they're going to ride that on hand. That's how it's always been. Dave Montgomery has been your best back. A guy that you could depend on. Give him 20, 25 carries. He is out, though. So this is an opportunity for Jahmyr. Of course, he's not going to get 25-plus carries, but, man, he's going to get at least 15, I think. That's the number for me. 15 carries. Get him like last week, 8 to 10 targets in the pass game. He catches 4 or 5 of them. Cool. But he's going to be involved. If you're talking about scrimmage yards, Booner, I'd say he goes for 100 tonight, at least.
Yeah.
Yards from scrimmage.
He had 20 touches last week.
And maybe even a score.
I agree. I think he does have a game, and I think people are going to start to realize that. He had that 100-yard game last week. I think you might be able to see him string another one back-to-back, about 20 touches compared from rushing and receiving. Maybe a touchdown. I don't know.
And that's the biggest thing about this offense. I mean, they want to run the football. That's what you know about the Lions. They want to run the football. And Jahmyr Gibbs, one of your more explosive weapons, and especially against a Raiders defense who's 24th in the league in run defense, I think this is a good opportunity for him. Perfect one.
It is. In the WoodwardSports.com chat, there are a couple of good ones here. El Gato says, FanDuel special, J-Mo touchdown plus Garcia. J-Mo no touchdown. Here. FanDuel special. J-Mo touchdown plus Garcia home run means that J-Mo scores. So there's that out there as well in the street. So you know that one's going to go down. Here's another good one I saw too. This one comes courtesy of J3T, who says Jimmy G's in town. Keep an eye on your girlfriend. All your ladies, are they all accounted for at UCJ?
Mine is accounted for.
Okay.
She is at home away from Jimmy G.
That you think.
This is a problem.
Here's the thing.
I haven't seen my girlfriend for a couple days now. I don't know where she's been.
Yeah.
They are?
Yeah.
All of them, yeah.
I was like, Chris, she's missing in action. she's missing. Or she was good. That's what Chris meant.
She's day-to-day, but that's from me.
She's okay. Well, that's a little aggressive.
Can I talk about something that's kind of bothered me real quick?
Yeah.
That's bothered me a lot.
Chest, Neal. What's wrong?
And Tyler in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread says this. Goff doesn't get rid of it fast. He's possession or progression orientated. I don't think he slings the deep ball well with anticipation. And I'm kind of getting tired of that narrative. Let me see, checks notes. Oh, he's third in the league of pass completions of 20-plus yards. So somebody's wrong here. Either the stats I'm looking at are wrong or Tyler's wrong. And I can't, I'll be fair. I'll wait till the evidence presents itself on who's wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm tired of that fucking narrative, man.
Yeah.
I'm really tired of it.
Yeah, and this isn't even a knock. I mean, it is kind of a knock on J-Mo, but you saw a deep ball at the end of it. It was garbage time, but J-Mo put that thing running the money. He just dropped it. Jared, the whole narrative about he can't throw a deep ball. Does he have the prettiest ball? No. But to your point, Neal, he gets the job done.
Him sitting third in the league in 20-plus yard touch or 20-plus yard completions looks pretty to me.
That's the data.
Looks, right in front of Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts and Lamar and Tua's up there. You see what I'm saying? Trevor Lawrence, everybody's hero. This is factual, and this is another year of this, by the way.
Yeah, and this is a big opportunity. We talk about a big opportunity for Jahmyr Gibbs. And you talked about it today on Big D Energy in your role. This is a big opportunity for Jared Goff.
Well, big opportunity is, I think he's got to be the rock tonight.
I agree.
We can talk about, Booner can sit here and wax poetic about Laporta, and we can say how cute it is about Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's got to be a workhorse and things like that. Let me tell you guys something. If the Lions win this football game tonight, you will look at Jared Goff, and there will be a minimum of 280 yards in the passing category. Mm-hmm. Minimum, because that's where he lives, especially at home, and especially when they win the game. That's to the point where, look, we're almost done with the show. We haven't really talked about him at all. And that tells me that we are kind of all in lockstep about, you know what you're getting from this man at home. Yep. You know what you're going to get from him. Mm-hmm. And I think that shows that we've kind of turned a corner with Jared Goff and the expectations and all that stuff. The expectation has become the norm. Nobody says a word about it, except for, I don't think he's good throwing a deep ball, except that he's third in the league in doing it.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, about Jared last week is that game was such garbage all around. So to take away last week and say, you know what, Jared Goff was the reason we lost that football game is something that I just can't get on board with. Against the Raiders, though, I mean, you're right. It's Jared Goff time. You're at home. You're indoors. It's prime time. We watched this man on the road against the Buccaneers. David Montgomery goes out. No run game the second half. You know how you win? With Jared's arm. That is it. That is all. That is how it happened. Some of these people coming in too. Let's see. Mike G, Neal, and Juicy basically run WSN. Chad needs to open up that checkbook. You see?
No, that's Jeff Iafrate. He's on all the commercials. His face is on all the graphics. I'm just happy to be here. I am just happy to take part in Woodward Sports Network. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm happy to advance on the sweat of Juicy J's back.
I got a text before the show to say make sure he doesn't get too serious in here. So.
No, well, you got to meet Mark Davis today. He came
I did.
And stopped on Big D Energy.
He stopped by the show. Hey, check out Woodward Sports Instagram reels. We had an exclusive with Mark Davis, who just happened to be walking by.
Yeah, he was getting roast before the game.
He was in roast, and then our guy Kool-Aid went out there and said, "Hey, would you mind coming on?" And he said, "Sure, I'll come on." And I asked him why. I said, "Hey, Mr. Davis, you own the Raiders. You're worth billions of dollars. Why does your hair look like that by choice? You got billions of dollars. You can do something about that lettuce, man. It doesn't have to look like that."
Right.
You can get that fixed.
I thought your question yesterday was fair. You take the billion, but you get the haircut, or you just stay the same and don't get the haircut.
No, I'm not walking around with that haircut.
I'm taking the billion. I'm taking the billion. Imagine what my unit could be if I take $1 billion. I'm taking the billion, man.
Booner, to your point, though, if you had that haircut, that's showtime.
Yeah,
Booner,
look, I've got this already.
Come on.
I'm taking the haircut. I'm taking the $1 billion. My unit's going to go way up.
There you go, man. All right, I'll tell you what. We'll head to break. When we come back, we'll get our score predictions from everybody in the room, and then we'll get out of here. And then, of course, we'll have the watch party here at the studio. People are rolling in. We got Lucas Klotz back here from the tailgate. I'll tell you what. Like the video for us. It does help the algorithm of the stream, and we appreciate your presence today tuning into the pregame show. This has been the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We'll see you in a little bit.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
What? Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
What up, though, people? We're down at the Eastern Market VIP tailgate, and it is rocking. It's your boy Detroit Kool-Aid, and I am with Kyle of the Bullseye Event Group. I got a few questions that I want to ask you, but first, I'm going to have you introduce yourself as well.
Kyle Kinnett, Bullseye Event Group, founder and CEO, and happy to be here.
You look happy, man. Over 1,300 people I'm hearing are out here tonight. Can you please confirm that?
What's that, couldn't hear?
Over 1,300 people are here tonight. Can you confirm that? It's rocking.
Is the fire marshal asking or are you asking? No, it's well over 1,000 people here in the sold out event, and I'm thrilled for the city.
Yeah, all right, so look, can you let the people know what exactly is the Bullseye Event Group?
We are the leader in hospitality for tailgates in the NFL. We're in 8 NFL markets, Detroit being one of the first markets we were in. So we've been here for, 8 years now maybe. But we do high-end tailgates, all the food and booze you can eat and drink prior to games, and great atmosphere, good food, and great place to gather prior to the games.
That's awesome. Now, you said Detroit was the first and that you do this in other cities.
Detroit was
one of the first. Well, then let me know, how many of these tailgates does Bullseye Event Group actually host?
We have 10 NFL relationships. We're doing, we did 5 tailgates yesterday, this game today. So on any given day, 8 activations going at once. And then we do a big Super Bowl tailgate where last year Bobby Flay was our head chef. Odell Beckham, Dak Prescott, 75 NFL players, all about the food. A lot of celebrity chefs. 2,500 people, it's awesome.
So you're telling me that the Lions are going to be in this year's Super Bowl one?
Listen, people ask me all the time, what would be the biggest Super Bowl? And it's the Lions. I came here, I had a small relationship with the Lions. I came to the preseason game. It was the 4th preseason game. Came in at halftime, stadium with 4th quarter, 2 minutes to go in the game. Lions are driving. 75% of the stadium was still in the stands going crazy. I said, man, these fans are incredible. So truly, I've been all around the NFL. These fans are amazing fans. They got a lot to cheer for, and it's great to finally got a good winning franchise.
One Pride, you hear that? It's people talking good about you out there. So I got to ask you, though, how did you get into this line of work?
You know, look, my background is selling tickets, right? And I just recognized that in Indianapolis, this is my hometown, it's where it started. People were coming to games, showing up at 12:45 for a 1 o'clock kick, and that was it. And I started these tailgates 15 years ago and just had a little foresight to say that, you know, Sunday's more about an all-day experience. And so it's been building and been building. COVID hit, everybody slowed down, kind of recognized what we were doing. COVID lifted, and it just kind of took off.
How many people across all the cities, and how many man hours does it take to make something like this successful?
Well, you know, we do everything. So all the food, we're preparing the food. We're working with celebrity chefs in local markets and caterers and markets. So the signage, the television, soup to nuts, we handle everything. The carpet, everything. So it's a lot of man hours. A lot of people who are passionate about the hospitality industry. I tell people that food is very much like a mind-altering substance, just like alcohol. If you got good food, it can really set you off. So everything we do is always about the food.
Definitely. So listen, the most important question, you ready? You guys ready? What is your final score prediction for the Detroit Lions and the Las Vegas Raiders tonight?
That's easy, 42-14.
Oh, I love it. I love it. 42-14. We've had all dominating final score predictions, and it's no different here from Boss Man. Listen, any last words that you would like to say to the people before we sign off?
Go Lions, keep winning.
Go Lions, keep winning. One Pride. It's your boy Brandon Dent, and we are going to sign off. Back to you at the studio.
Appreciate you, Kool-Aid, over there interviewing Kyle, our guy from Bullseye Event Group. Appreciate everything they've done for us. It looks a lot of fun out there, man.
If you guys haven't ran through the Bullseye Event Group tailgate,
oh, it's a party.
Yes, it is.
It's a party.
Yes, it is.
Like, I think party's an understatement, to be honest with you.
It's a free-for-all.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. Especially today, you talked about it. You showed up to the Monday Night Football game years ago, and people were there at 8:30 a.m.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like Monday night is just built different, man. Like normal rules of society don't apply when Monday Night Football is there. We got out there with the squad. This was back when I was, a little bit in a little bit different station in my life. We got out there at 8:30 a.m. We had to pay for parking. We got to pay for parking twice at the old Shillelagh.
Wow.
Twice. You had like the morning crowd of people that work down there, and that's where they park, and then they open it back up for the lot.
It's a full day.
It's a full day.
Jeez.
It's a good time, though. Hey,
right.
you know what? Real quick to wrap this thing up, like the people that we were talking about, Jared Goff and stuff like that, because somebody said in there, well, 20-yard ball isn't a deep ball, and then here on Mark M says in 2022, Goff was second in 20+ and third in 40+ throws. Dude stretches the field. Thank you. Don't believe that. Don't believe the analytics and the facts of it. Just go by what you've been trained to think. You can do that too. That's up to you. Live your life the way you want.
Yeah, I think when people think of deep ball, their mind immediately goes to vertical. There's a lot of ways you could pass for 20+ yards. Like, bottom line, the numbers don't lie. He's up there every single time.
The Goff conversation, there's a reason his line today is 265.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
But that's just business as usual at home for him.
Yes, there's a reason it's there. He will cut this defense up today. I fully believe that.
I'll tell you what. Okay, let's get to some of our game predictions, and I'll go first because I kind of talked about it today in the morning Woodward show, which you can catch 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on weekdays. I think this game is 2 scores, Neal. I'm going to stay consistent. I said that earlier. I think the Lions win by 14 at the minimum. If you win by 10, cool. I don't care. We already had this discussion. Just win the game. I think they'll win by 2 scores. Give me 31-17. Lions shut down the run. You force Jimmy G to pass in overtime. They're going to get 5 sacks. Wink, wink. Give me that plus 1,600.
At 16 to 1.
Let's go.
For me, I'm rolling 27-24. Lions win. I don't care if it's 25-24. I don't care how it happens. And look, 3-point victories aren't all constructed equally. You know what I'm saying? I think it's one of those things where the Lions have a firm grip on the game the whole time. Like, the Raiders will be there. They'll be in there. A lot like the Falcons game without the fourth quarter implosion by the Falcons, where I think that the Lions can be in command and be up 13-7 or 14-7, what have you. I think they can be in command. Yeah, bingo.
They were up huge and then they came back a little.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they're going to get up huge, but you never felt like with the Falcons game, you never felt like they were in danger of losing the game, no matter how close it was. So 27-24, but about as comfortable as a 3-point win can be.
And just like the Falcons game, Booner, I think the recipe not only for success but for domination is you get up early and you force this team to pass the football. And that's when havoc starts to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a similar thing. I don't know if you guys remember last week, but the Ravens won the toss, and they were like, "We're going to set the tone. Let's get the ball," because typically we would say defer.
Yeah. I want him to do that.
That's what I want.
And you know what? Like I'm trying to work in I'm going to get here for one of the live streams, and it's going to be a whole nother level for you guys. I get so granular about the coin toss. No, for real though. If you get the ball to start the second half, in theory, you can limit the opponent to 4 possessions in the second half. Think about it.
Yeah.
You had any kind of drive to start, because the second quarter is where you flip games.
Yeah.
In the last 2 minutes of the second quarter is where you flip football games. And I think, by the way, that will come into play tonight. If the Raiders get the ball first, I think that the Lions will be able to do that. And if you're up 3, you go down, you either get it, you score in some fashion in the last 2 minutes, and then you turn around and get the ball.
Right.
Then it's flipped.
Yeah.
The game is flipped. The Patriots did that for 20 years, and nobody ever talked about it. They won games in the second quarter.
I mean, if they get the ball, you get a stop, you get a score, you're up 7-0, and you have the halftime advantage.
You have more possessions in the second half.
I would rather get a stop to start the game and then go get a quick touchdown. The game's basically not over, but you have all of control.
The momentum shifts immediately.
And that's where I'm with kind of in the first half here. I think the Detroit Lions kind of get that momentum right away at home. Okay. Monday Night Football, you've seen them get to hot starts. I have the Detroit Lions winning 34-17. I know it's a big stretch there, but I do think coming out of last week's loss, kind of that Dan Campbell edge, that grit, that thing that he preaches, and we saw it after the Seahawks loss. He came out and said, "That was on me. I'm going to have these guys ready." He came out after last week's loss, said, "That's on me. Guys will be ready." I think this is one of those games where they come out, chip on their shoulder. They want to prove to the whole nation what they are and what they can do. I see a 34-17 game, and it's pretty. The Detroit Lions have a hold on this game the whole time.
BMG, talk to me. What do you got?
I had the same thing as you, 31-17. I do think the Vegas gets in twice. They do have a good kicker in Daniel Carlson, so I'll give them the field goal with that. I do think they pull it away after coming off the loss that the Lions had last week, and then you look at the Raiders team that just got blown out by the Chicago Bears. I don't think Jimmy G makes that much of a difference. The Lions have to win this one after the bad showing last week. They're going to blow them out.
And they're in the new unis. Come on, with the new helmet. Yeah. Come on, guys. Chris, what do you got? You got a score prediction?
Yeah. For me, I wanted to go close. I wanted to go 28-20, but I just can't see after last week's performance this defense allowing 20 points. Like I think this defense is going to find a way to be very dominant and very impactful in this game. So I got 28-17 Lions.
See, why do we got to all go different from Neal? Now you got bragging rights, Neal, if you're right. Look at everyone's got more than you.
But it's not always popular. That's the thing. It's not always popular.
The close game, I'm just going to say, if that happens, I'm going to say, hey, Neal, a win's a win. There we go.
Well, that's consistent. That's where I am with it. I don't care. It's pass-fail. This is pass-fail in the NFL.
And that's where me and you are a little different, because if they win by only 3, I got to see the game. Context matters, but I'll be like, damn, it depends. Like, did Jimmy G look great? Like, there's context in that football game, but I don't know if I'll take a win with 3 points. You got to win by more than 3. You got to.
No, you don't. You only have to win by 1.
They all measure the same. I understand that, but for other purposes, you got to make a little bit of a statement.
Bradley Stroh's been asking the MotorSports.com chat thread. First touchdown score for the Lions. You got a pick for it. I mean,
but it's a feeling, Booner. You said this before.
I'm 3 for 3 on the year first touchdown on the streams. I haven't given one out in 3 weeks because you just have to have that matchup works out. On the other side, the Raiders, they have Devontae Adams. I'm not going to touch it. Usually, on the Lions, I'd say Amon-Ra St. Brown. If they get the ball and Devontae Adams has a 70-yard touchdown, I'm not doing it today.
Yeah,
I don't have the feeling.
If you said, "Hey, give me one for the Lions," then I would probably lean Amon-Ra St. Brown, because this is him personified, right? Wasn't supposed to play. He'll probably have 4 catches on the first drive, and it'll be 11-yard touchdown to start the game. Because that's how he's built, man. John Brown's his dad. Drink your spit.
That is it. That is all.
I usually take 2 touchdown scores in a game for the Lions. I did take the Sam Laporta, obviously. Second guy, when he gets shown active, I took Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't care ever what the line is. I always Amon-Ra St. Brown is that man.
So no first down touchdown score from Booner.
Nothing.
Okay, that's fair.
Not this week. I don't have a feel on that.
Mike G says J-Mo for sure.
Look at this one. Corey Berry says, Neal, you have to excuse Jeff. His generation is concerned with style points.
They are. I know they are. Look at his hair.
Okay.
Look at his hair. That tells you all you need to see. Lorena Rios, Neal, what section do we look for Black Mark Davis? He is section 111, row 16.
You got his seat number and everything?
Oh, we did, yeah. Because
he dropped it to you?
I call for ESPN to put him on the broadcast.
Yeah.
They won't. Mark Davis would get mad if they did that.
You made some phone calls.
No, I just called for it. Whatever happens, I say it, and then whatever happens with it after that is not up to me.
You just put it in the atmosphere.
I put it in the atmosphere.
That's fair. Okay. All right. Well, appreciate you guys. Listen, man, I love doing these shows with Neal, man. It's a lot of fun.
This is a fun show,
yeah,
man.
it's a great crew.
Real quick on the WoodwardSports.com chat thread, Freddie Felt 313. Neal and Jeff are killing it tonight. Please replace flannel with Neal at 8 a.m.
Wow.
That's a different conversation with my agent.
Yeah. You only speak through contractual terms. That's
a lot like the trade the Seahawks made today. There's a premium to get me in here in the morning.
Are you searching for a new agent?
No, I
would like
have
to
one.
throw my name in the hat.
Yeah.
I want to be Neal's agent.
No, it's just there's a premium associated with being here for an 8 a.m. show. Let's just say it like that.
That is 100% fair. I want to say thank you guys. From Jeff Iafrate, Neal Ruhl, of course, the great man himself. We got BMG, Booner, Chris Platte. Appreciate you guys again for helping out with the show itself. But you guys for tuning in to the broadcast. Please, if you're going to the game, be safe, have fun, be loud. Be aggressive, but not too aggressive to where you get on social media.
You can't be too aggressive.
Where there's a fight, you see a lot of those happening. Please be safe. But again, appreciate you guys for tuning in the show. Before you leave, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next week, or actually the bye week, so 2 weeks, we'll catch you, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We'll see you.
Lions,
see you later.
baby.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.